Another big mover that we are watching closely today is Apple. The share's down about 1.5%. The company is warning that COVID restrictions in China are hurting its ability to produce iPhones, particularly the iPhone 14 Pro and iPhone 14 Pro Max. Our Eunice Yoon is live in Beijing and has a lot more for us on this story. Eunice.
Thanks, David. Well, the supplier, of course, that handles all of those iPhones is Foxconn, and Foxconn itself said that it needs to revise down its forecast for the fourth quarter because of these COVID curbs. Now, the company says that it's doing what it can to try to mitigate any fallout. It said it's working with the government to ramp up to full production as quickly as possible, they say, and that means reorganizing the facilities so that they restrict the workers' movements to the factory and the dormitories, but of course, at the same time, improving their conditions and their lives on the factory, at the factory, in order to retain and attract workers. So another big incentive, of course, is financial. They're offering one-time bonuses of about $69 for people to return. And they're also ramping up a recruitment drive to try to get more people to consider working there with a wage hike of 20% higher than before. So this is about $4.20 an hour. Official media is quoting factory sources as saying that the managers there are hopeful that they could ramp up to full production by the end of November. Now, this all comes as the Chinese top health authority had singled out this iPhone city of Zhengzhou for having excessive controls. But while it did that, it also reiterated the pledge to zero COVID, which is the pet project of President Xi Jinping, saying that this is completely correct, the most economical and effective. So those comments have managed down expectations that we might see any type of quick reopening. There had been some hopes over the past several days, especially in the markets, that it looked as though it might be heading in that direction, much to many people's disbelief. But now those expectations have been managed down again, and people are saying if it is, that we are going to see any type of reopening, it'd be very, very targeted measures, probably more on the local level. Guys?
But Eunice, some of these rumors that have been surfacing and then resurfacing, it's almost like whack-a-mole, have been really talking about 2023 as a potential timeline. I mean, we still have a winter and everything else to get through, but any sort of insight as to why 2023 specifically could be the magic year for this?
No, I think it's just because people are hoping that it's going to be 2023. Yeah. So before those rumors had popped up, most people here were talking about how we're just going to have to get through this winter. We're seeing the surge of COVID in other places, including the United States. So it's going to be really difficult for China to reopen under those circumstances. And then, of course, in China, we have another big important political event, which is going to happen in March. So people were kind of eyeing that as an optimistic date. But then people were kind of more hopeful that something would come earlier. I'm not so sure about that anymore. But then even with 2023, it's hard to know if the reopening would happen later in the year because of all the kind of political wrangling that the Communist Party has to do in order to try to change the storyline to the public. Because up until now, they keep telling everybody that COVID is so dangerous. And so people are kind of scared about it. And so if you start reopening things, even if it's it would seem to make sense from an economic standpoint, there's still a lot of questions, Morgan, as to whether or not the population is ready.
Eunice Yoon, bringing us the latest from China. Thank you.